In this video, I'm going to show you a recent case study where we were able to save up to $250,000 in annual profits. And growth wasn't this company's constraint. In fact, they had more projects than ever, but behind the scenes, something was quietly draining their profits. Individually, these problems looked small, but combined, they were costing the company over $250,000 a year. So, with this company, we did a full AI operations audit where we mapped out all the workflows behind the business. In this case study, I'll show you exactly how these systems eliminated the chaos and also recovered over $240,000 in annual profit. And if you are new here, my name is Mark, and I've worked with small businesses all the way up to eight-figure companies implement AI the right way and see crazy results across the board. With that being said, let's dive into the case study. Before we get into the video, I want to briefly explain why we do an AI audit. It's just because most companies and also other AI companies implement AI the wrong way, where they use the top-down funnel approach, which you can see on the screen right here. What we do is we use the bottom-up vacuum approach. So top-down funnel is basically where you look at all the new AI features and you try to funnel them into your business. So this can be someone that says, "Hey, I sell XYZ. Would you be interested?" And they just try to push something down your throat without really knowing your business. And so this leads to being distracted, just anxiety, and no real ROI. And the approach we use is the bottom up vacuum approach, which is we take your business, so we analyze your business, your systems, your processes, and that then we look at your problems, your bottlenecks, and also where your time is spent. We look at the AI landscape, and based on those problems and bottlenecks, we vacuum up the AI solutions and implement only those that have a tangible ROI. So basically, yeah, focus, clarity, and direction from day one. So the structure of the video will be, I'll first explain the phase, so the before and after, what we implemented. We have, by the way, three phases, and also the ROI that's attached to it. So if you are a construction company or a kitchen and bathroom remodeling company, then this will also be very relevant. Okay, so phase one, the inventory management bundle. So this company didn't have any systems to track inventory. And so the before, let me, yeah, that's fine. Before they had no tracking, they were losing materials all the time, which led to project delays. And they didn't have real accountability because the construction crew was just grabbing materials without letting the warehouse manager know what they were taking. And also, this was not scalable because the warehouse manager was literally at its limit with where the company was at. And so after implementing the system, which I'll show in a sec, they had fewer lost materials, less crew idle time, higher accountability, cleaner warehouse operations, scalable growth, and reduced project delays. The main bottleneck for this company was basically if they wanted to grow, they had to get more people, and also they had just a bunch of project delays. So phase one, they were using a CRM called Builder Trends. So to give you a brief explanation, in Builder Trend they would create a project, so the construction project, and they would create orders in Builder Trend, which would automatically populate in inflow. So if someone creates a project, it would automatically go into inflow, which is a inventory management system, by the way, and then it would create purchase orders for that specific project. So basically, you have oversight of what is going to come in and when. So when an order comes in, we have Brian, the warehouse manager, which scans everything in, and we do this based on bin shelf scanning if we have a lot of items, or item level scanning, which is for individual orders. And for bin shelf scanning, we would just adjust the quantity in inflow, and also we would attach a QR code for the items. for the individual items. So with this system, the contractors and also the warehouse manager can increase or subtract items through scanning. So this is a brief overview of the system, phase one. And as for the ROI, it isn't significant, but phase one and phase two are interlinked, and the ROI for phase two is much more significant. But for the inventory management system, they would have annual savings of $41,000. Also, I don't know why it is in euros, but just imagine these are dollars. And operating cost for inflow every single year is about $6,000, and thus net gain is $36,000. And in this case, they had a payback period of around 2 months. And here you can also see the savings breakdown, which was mainly for inventory hours or crew idle time. And also after 3 years, you would also have $100,000 saved. So obviously, the cost of inaction would be basically what you would save, right? Okay, and now coming into phase two, which is the daily management bundle, we had to do phase one to do phase two. Phase two is way more significant in terms of the business impact. So before they had a lot of morning idle time, the warehouse manager told me that all the crew members, so I think they had 5 or 6 crew members, they were waiting every single morning for 2 hours before they had all the materials. Also, they had inconsistent project management tracking, also a lot of micromanagement, and this was just not scalable. The project manager was just at this limit. And so after, these are the benefits, they had automated material routing, higher accountability, cleaner warehouse operations, scalable growth without adding overhead, and reduced project delays. So, what is this system? So, we are essentially trying to see where the project is at and also what materials are needed for the next day. This is a very easy system to build, but very crucial. So, the contractors for this company needed to submit the materials they needed for the next day at 2 p.m. 3 out of the 5 construction teams didn't do this. So we basically added an alert for the construction company's uh, project lead. And if he opens the alert, he will go to a file where he can list all the materials that he needs for the next day. And then it would get analyzed by AI. And we would check the inventory system to see if all the materials were in inventory. And if it is, we would notify Brian what to collect exactly. And if it isn't, we would notify Brian what to order. And in the future, we are going to form partnerships with companies like Home Depot, where we essentially can send a automated email to them, and they would gather all the materials and put them in a designated area. So Brian, the warehouse manager, wouldn't need to order materials again. So let's say we are missing something that the crew needs the next day. And let's say it's a bigger item that would take 1 week to get to the warehouse. Then, if that's the case, we would notify Andrea, which is basically the manager of the company, that the project is going to fall behind and that she needs to adjust schedules. So, very important. Also, something that we've added is a daily activity log form, which the leads of the project needs to submit by 5 p.m., which would also go into Builder Trends. And based on the statement of work that they give, we would analyze the statement of work and where they are currently at in the project. So basically, they would submit what they did that day and what they need to do tomorrow. And in the SOW, the statement of work, we already know day by day what they need to do. Let's say they are falling behind. Again, we would notify Andrea. So we also built a dashboard for this, and this is just a demo. So here, Andrea could see what project was behind, what is on schedule, what's delayed, etc., etc. It looks a little bit different than this, but this again is just a demo. So just to give you a visual representation of what it will look like. And as for the business impact, they were saving over $100,000 annually, and operating cost was only about $500 a year. So net gain, you can imagine, is pretty high. And the payback period was 2 months. Basically, we charge around 20% of the project value. So after 2 months, they made their money back. And the savings breakdown was based on the morning crew delays, so 2 hours every single day for 5 entire crews, and also a project delay where the management needed to change schedules, etc., etc. Okay, and so after 3 years, you would save about $300,000 a year. And in this calculation, we are only looking at what we save in terms of time. And obviously, we are not going to fire someone if they are not performing badly, but this is just reducing profit fade, just helping the company grow by being more efficient. And as I said, we are only looking at what we save and not what they could make by being more efficient, by being able to take on more projects. And the last one is phase three, SW plus quote generation. I'm the most excited for this one because the impact for this was also really good. To give you a brief overview, I think I also should have done that with the other ones before diving into the before and after. But they are working with people that want new kitchens, new bathrooms, basically a kitchen and bathroom remodeling company. And now it's taken them roughly 2 weeks to get back to the customer with the plan with the SOW. And this system basically helps with improving the sales cycle and a bunch of other stuff. They also didn't have clear SOPs and training. So it took them roughly 3 to 6 months to train a new, in this case, designer slash sales rep, to get them up to speed to perform correctly. And with this, we took it down to a couple of weeks of training before they were able to operate this without the owner or without needing their hand to be held. So before and after, previously they had no SOPs, no proper training. It was taking them 2 weeks to get a lead, the SOW, and also the quote. And they had project delays because of this. And with this previous system, they had to pass everything through the owner, and thus it is not scalable. And after working with us, they had clear training and also SOPs. We reduced training time from months to weeks for the designers slash sales reps. And now it only takes 1 or 2 days to create an SOW and quote. This operates without the owner, leads to scalable growth, and reduce project delays. So I want to keep this brief because this is quite a big system and this is very simplified. But essentially, in Build Trend, they would create a project. We built them a custom software where they can operate the system. So let's say they create a project in Build Trend, it would create a project in the custom software for them. And so how the system works, it fully operates on voice notes. So we would take the voice notes, the written notes, the CADs, the photos of the current state, and with the voice notes, it is basically the designer and client conversations. It is walkthrough commentary. So, for example, we are removing this wall, keeping this floor, etc., etc. Obviously, way more detailed than this, and also post visit thoughts. So after they are done with the walkthrough, the client conversations, they would just like, for example, sit in their car and talk to the system. So then we have all these inputs which would pass through an AI, and then we would output a bunch of standardized PDFs. In this case, for this company, it is prep, demo, framing, plumbing, electrical, finish, and other. They could see all these PDFs and then give additional notes. So usually, the initial PDF isn't completely done, so they would have to give additional notes, which would refine the PDF. And then we have a bunch of PDFs which they again can edit however they want. So all these PDFs would pass through an AI. It would create the SOW draft where they again can give additional notes. Currently, we are having the owner do this because he is more comfortable with that. But eventually, the designers can do this themselves. So that would create the complete SOW. So let's say the complete SOW is not correct. They would give edits and corrections back to us, and we would over time improve the system to be 100% accurate. Okay, so what happens after the SW is complete? We would have AI analyze the SW. We would look at, okay, can we generate a quote right now? Yes, we would give a quote estimate. No, we would give suggestions as to what to improve the SW with. So this is just an additional layer to verify that we've done it correctly. Okay, and so additionally, we also include a bonus, which is a complete course that we built for them. Also with an AI chatbot where the designer can go back and forth, ask questions, and the AI is trained on all the company data, company SOPs, and all the videos. So let's go to a quick demo. So here we have a quick demo with a dashboard, the AI assistant, and the training course. This AI doesn't work. It's just a simple demo. And here they could go to a course, click into it, and mark as complete or whatever they want to do. So here we would have a video or multiple videos and also text files and in general just all of training material. So they can talk to the AI. So let's say the AI cannot answer the question, we would send a request to the owner to answer the question, and that would update the knowledge base so that next time the AI can answer that question. And let's say people ask the same question multiple times, then we would notify the owner or the sales manager to record a course module. Okay, so and if you are still watching, then that means you are probably wondering what is the process behind finding all these solutions or opportunities. So we work in a three-phase process, with phase one being the process audit, where we do interviews with your team to see where the bottlenecks, the problems are, and also where the time is spent. And then we would map everything out. And that gives us a clear overview of what your business looks like. And we would look at your company internally and also externally. So internal means operations, administration, service delivery, etc., etc. And external means marketing and sales. So me or someone else from my team would do these interviews with our AI expertise. We would look at, okay, how can we solve the bottlenecks that we have found? So we would look at the software stack, the feasibility, dream versus threat, which I'll address in phase two. Uh, what is legal, what is not legal, and what the hell is even possible. And in phase two, we would look at dream versus threat. We would rank all these use cases based on difficulty and impact. Dream are high impact use cases. Dread is low impact use cases. These are still use cases that the company maybe wants to implement, but the question you have to ask yourself is not what can we implement, but what should we implement. And usually, if the use case is of low impact, we would not implement it. And difficulty we base on experience. And so obviously we implement all the high impact use cases. And in phase three, we would calculate the ROI. So for example, how many hours do we save? What's the AI cost? And how much is it going to cost to develop the solution? And based on that, you have an ROI. And companies that work with us usually see a 8 to 10x ROI. So, to give you a brief overview of what it actually looks like in practice, again, we have phase one, two, and three. Phase one, again, is the interviews. These are some notes that I have basically blurred out with Lorem Ipsum. But let's say this is a warehouse manager and we are interviewing him live on the call. We would take notes, we would verify the notes, and make sure that we are actually collecting the correct data. Then we would obviously rank all these opportunities. We would look at, okay, what kind of opportunity is it? Is it a external opportunity, sales, operations, client-facing marketing or a service delivery opportunity. We color code them, and in this case, for the warehouse manager, it was mainly operations and external opportunities. And so we would rank these based on impacts. Then we would calculate the ROI. I'm not going to explain this again, but essentially, here we can see, okay, what is the actual ROI? Is this actually worth implementing? Okay, so that was it for this use case. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough, and I hope you also found it entertaining and also insightful. If you think this process could be applicable to my company, first link down below. I hope to see you there, and otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.